Women on a green mission. Follow along as two friends document their unfurling permaculture journeys.
Join our chats each week where we will be sharing how we and others apply the ethics and principles of permaculture to our gardens and daily life.
We're no experts. We're at the start of our journey, learning and fumbling our way to a greener life. You're guaranteed to witness a few successes, plenty of failures, laughs and swearing. We'd love your company along the way.
Do you want to say hello then?
Hello.
Hello, welcome to our first episode. Please like us.
Like, hello. We don't know. Oh. All right. I'll kick it off. Wow, we're here, episode 1.
Day 1.
I know. How'd that happen?
Well, our first day of recording.
I know. I'm really excited. I'm a little bit nervous actually, but I'm excited. I'm excited that we're doing this.
I am. I'm very excited. Pressure's on though.
I know.
Do this now.
That's it. It's like, right, we had our launch date 1st of December. Bang, we've got to get this stuff done. And we both sort of went, holy crap, like now we actually have to take action. It's one thing to just talk about it and go, yeah, that sounds great, but now we're doing it.
Yeah.
So we're here.
To Christmas when everyone's so busy and parties and end of year stuff's going on. We're like, oh yeah, we'll just throw a podcast into the mix.
Not like you've got 2 little kids. I've got a couple of acres I need to look after and run a business, and
Turkey.
You're working and running your business as well. So we've got a ton of time. Totally.
Yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be right.
What they say, if you want something done, get a busy person to do it. That's what we are.
Ask a mother.
That's it. It. A busy person, a productive. Mum's
yes, very productive. So for those who didn't listen to our little intro, I'm Alysse and I'm joining Jo on our new journey together, practical permaculture.
Yes. So we're here because, we just want to talk about permaculture, really. I mean, what's there not to love about it? That's why we wanted to be here.
Yep. We met through a permaculture design course that we did in Stroud, and it kind of all snowballed from there. Jo was telling me that she had done a podcast previously, and I said, oh, I'd like to do something like that, and that was it. That was all it took.
Yeah, it was done. We sort of had that conversation, and then I think it was breakfast on the last day or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we were talking about it. I was talking about it with another one of the ladies there, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'll, keep going with it or whether I'll start another one. I'd really, really like to focus more on permaculture than just self-sufficient living, because I felt that I was getting a bit narrow with that, and my world had been opened up a little bit. And I think you were kind of you kind of walked around the table and you're like, I'll do it with you.
I wasn't even in the actual conversation. I'm pretty sure I just inserted myself into that. I was like, hey, I'll do that. You're probably like, piss off. I don't want you with my podcast.
I was excited. I was just like, really? You'd do that with me? Because, it's one thing to sit down and talk and share that, because you're talking to, sort of the webosphere. There's no one there. You don't know who's listening. You don't know what's landing. And this way, I don't know, it's a little bit more about us having a bit of a banter and just sharing our permaculture journeys and sharing the successes and the screw ups. And there's a lot of those, but that's part of learning. That's if you don't make mistakes, you don't learn. So
100%.
What's your jam, Alysse? What are you up to at the moment?
My jam. Well, currently I live in a caravan. So we sold everything in 2021. So I'm from Newcastle originally, and we sold everything there. I was having a really hard time doing 9 to 5 living. So I was about to go back to work from maternity leave. I've got 2 kids, Addie and Fergus. Addie's about to turn 5 and Gus is 3. And financially, I had to go back to work and I was hating it. So Oscar increased his hours and took on the brunt of the workload. And I hated that even more because he was just never home. So we sold everything and put everything into storage and decided to take off and travel Australia in a caravan.
That is, shit, that's big.
I mean, you're listening to this podcast probably thinking she doesn't even own land. Why is she talking about permaculture and growing things? But it is our long-term plan. So part of selling up was that we didn't really want to be in Newcastle anymore, and we wanted space, we wanted to be with our kids, and we want to eventually start a business that allows us to work from home together. So it will be my income and hopefully supplement Oscar in the long term, my husband Oscar. And yeah, that's our game plan, that we will be at home and it will fit into our lives and we can be with our kids and clock off and we're home, or the kids just become part of that work routine. And yeah, so part of traveling is to find our little slice of paradise and where we want to be next.
Beautiful. And, I love that you touched on the fact that you don't have a patch of land at the moment, because permaculture, even though it originally come from permanent agriculture, it's so much more than just gardening.
Yes.
And that's
Totally.
something that's really been highlighted to me, because I'd been focusing on the gardening side of things, and now I see everything through a permaculture lens, and it really does help me to make good decisions for me and for my family and my community, and things that feel right. And now I have an understanding of why I'm making those decisions, not just because, I think that that should be the way it is. So it's so much more than just a garden. So yeah, it doesn't matter whether you're in a van or a tiny home in someone's backyard or an
And it really
apartment.
resonated with me because I was the same. Before I did the course, I thought it was just gardening. How can we make, the soil better and have a higher yield and all those kinds of things? And a lot of the things that permaculture is about is what my husband and I believe in anyway. I just didn't realize that was permaculture. So it was really nice to go, oh, you know what, we're doing this anyway, and then learn extra things along the way that we go, oh, we could add that to our little lifestyle. And yeah, we actually believe that we want to jump on board with these things captured in that course, because I really didn't know that that's what permaculture was about. I thought it was literally regen ag kind of thing, and that branch and that kind of technique and method side of permaculture, I really didn't understand. It was all those other things. So it was a big eye opener for me to go, oh, cool, this is us, this is what we're doing, this is what it is, and let's keep going down that path. So yeah, very cool.
So it's like, I'm already doing the thing, and now I've got a club I can join as well with other people that are doing the same thing.
Yeah, I've got friends.
Yeah, that's it. And it's like, and I love the term like-hearted people. It's not just like-minded, it is like-hearted. Like the people that we connected with during the course, and ourselves, of course. The people we connected with during the course, other course participants, the teacher, the guest speakers, and then the people that we've connected with after that. It's like, oh my goodness, like, where have you been all my life? Like, you guys just get it. You get the way I think and the way I feel about things, and you can't sort of have those conversations necessarily with everyone. And I think that's a little bit a part about why we wanted to start this as well, is because we want to open up those conversations. We don't want to be having, I think you put it really well earlier, where you're talking about some of the permaculture podcasts and publications and videos out there being quite highbrow. And a lot of people just go, oh my goodness, it's too big, it's too much. How the hell am I going to incorporate all of that into my life and live by all of these rules? Where we really want to demystify that, and we really want to pair that back to, this is practical stuff. It's how can you take a principle of permaculture and apply that to your life to make your life better for you and for your family and for your community, and so on and so forth.
And you don't have to be doing it all to do permaculture. There's a school of thought that you have to be somewhere for all the seasons before you break ground and you then fully understand that land to start doing your homestead and doing your plan. And I was listening to another podcast with Liz Zorab, and she had just moved sites, and she said, well, like, I get that, and I understand that I need to see where the water goes and all these things, but I just started with a little kitchen garden because I'm not going to sit around for 12 months and do nothing and just wait to see what the land's like and read the land and get the lay of where the winds go. And so, I think, you can take those schools of thought, or you can take those principles and practices and take them and tweak them and do them how you want to do permaculture. It's not a set of rules. They're literally principles. You can change them, mold them, make them suit how you live. And I think that's really important to know. And you don't have to do one thing one way for it to be considered permaculture.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that because, yeah, there are no hard and fast rules. And
No.
look, I'm sure there'll be some purists out there that'll be cringing at this right now, going, these two have no idea what they're talking about. Exactly. Because we want to help people understand that it is for everyone. It's just an understanding of how to do things in a more sustainable,
Practical,
ethical, practical way that's going to give you and nature and Mother Nature, the earth, a better bloody outcome. Like that's really the the crux of it. And there is no right or wrong. There's maybe some better techniques and tools that you can use to get a better outcome, but there's no right or wrong.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so where are you right now, Jo?
So I am in my home office in the gorgeous Hunter Valley in New South Wales. So we have 6.5 acres.
We're in Australia, by the way.
Oh, yeah, in Australia.
That.
if you couldn't tell by the broad accent. I used to love that people would message me and they're like, oh, my God, I love your accent. And I'm like, I don't have an accent. You've got an accent.
That blows my mind that people will be somewhere else other than Australia listening to this potentially. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it is quite cool. So the last podcast I had, Self-Sufficiency Made Simple, there was a ton of people from all over the world. Like I'd get people from Holland and Denmark and Canada and like just all over. It was
So
really cool actually to connect with so many people. But yeah, so I'm in the Hunter.
Yeah.
I've got 6.5 acres. I've got my version 1, phase 1 design up behind me, and we've got a couple of horses, some sheep, some chickens. Exciting. We've actually just started selling eggs commercially into the local cafe. So really keen for that. Cool. So local cafe owner. So the cafe is Maitland Street Collective. I'm going to give Heather a plug because she seriously makes the best cakes and slices. Like I go to Pilates near there, and then I'm so tempted after Pilates to go and get a coffee and a cake and a slice. And I'm like, it's really just not,
counteracting what we just did there.
Totally counteracting. But yeah, so we are starting to actually make this a little bit of a commercial enterprise. We're not making our millions on it, and I don't think we ever will, and we're totally okay with that.
How long have you been there for?
We've been here, it'll be 7 years this Christmas.
Okay, and did you start gardening straight away, or?
We started gardening very poorly straight away. So before we were here, we were in a little tiny suburban block at Lake Macquarie. Yep. And we had next to no yard. We had enough yard to sort of segregate some chickens off. So we had 3 chickens, and I literally put planter boxes on our driveway because that's the only room that I had. Yeah. And so I've always grown my own veggies. But when we scaled up, I went too big and too hard too soon. So I had a lot of lessons that I had to learn that first year or two. And then we started changing and tweaking, and then we were able to really get some good systems going. But they were very much through the lens of I garden. I garden, and I use different applications, and I use different fertilizers, and I wasn't really a pesticide user, but every now and then if things got really bad, I used to be. And so I then started, didn't really know about permaculture too much at the start. But then I started exploring, okay, well, if I'm getting aphids, if I just spray them, then I'm just going to kill them and more are going to come in, and I can't keep spraying and killing. Like, that's not going to work. So, all right, what natural solutions could I get? And then I realized that I could buy bugs. So then I started buying bugs in, and I was buying lacewings and a few other bugs that loved aphids. So we were managing through biological methods. Yeah. And it was then that I sort of started to find out a little bit more about permaculture and got interested, and I started reading and researching, and I'd actually signed up then for a permaculture course, and it was online, and I thought, I like online learning. I can do this at night. But for me, this particular course, I needed connection. I needed connection with real humans, not a computer. I needed to get my hands dirty. I needed to see and to feel and really understand what was happening. So I let it go for a few years, and then the course that you and I did together, we went for a tour, and I had my husband with me, who was a bit sort of like, yeah, honey, that's great. That's just another thing that you're into, whatever. And he came for the tour, and at the end of it, I'm like, right, we need to just book in and do this course, and we need to do it together so that we both understand, because I'm not going to be coming home at the end of each weekend trying to explain what I've learned and convince you. I'm not here to convince you of anything. I want to do this together. And to my surprise, he just looked at me and went, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Amazing.
We're doing it. Yeah, so that's how that all came to be, and now we're in the process of implementing some of what's behind me in the veggie garden. So that'll be iteration 4 in 7 years of our main veggie whole garden. Kitchen garden is going to get a redo as well, which is just our sort of cut and come again. And then the next big plan on that is to look at, you were talking about regen farming before, we're going to be looking at rotational practices for our paddocks. So we don't know how the hell that's going to work on such a small acreage with 2 horses and 3 sheep and 0 pasture because it's been eaten down to nothing. But we've just joined Landcare. We're going to connect with other people, and there's a lot of permies in Landcare as well. So we're really, really excited to see where that goes.
And it's just you and your husband on the farm?
So it's myself, my husband Anthony, and our youngest son Mitch at the moment. So he's finishing his apprenticeship, and he'll be here for another 12 months, and then I have no doubt he'll be off living his life.
Be careful. You might be stuck with him for a while yet.
Oh, he's moved out and he's come back. So we've had a few that have. So we got 3 kids, 2 grandbabies, and there's been variations of who's come back at what time. So there's always a bed.
And so with your vision for your farm, do you want it to be your full-time income eventually, or you are doing your business and this is more like a passion project for you?
So for us, just to take the pressure off, we're keeping it as a passion project until we sort of, if we find that there's a sweet spot that works for us, then we'll transition across. But in my daily life, I'm a management system consultant and auditor. It sounds really boring. It's the work itself's not terribly exciting, but what I do is I get to meet a lot of really interesting people running really interesting and cool businesses. Like, there's solar companies and like hydro company. Like, there's a lot of really cool businesses doing amazing things out there, and they're very much around getting greener. And so I'm able to have really good conversations from, again, permaculture perspective and through that lens.
I was going to say, open your eyes up to a lot of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So it means that these businesses that I'm being able to have conversations with, I don't have the answers and the solutions necessarily for them, but I'm there to prompt a conversation and get them thinking about things differently. So it's a win-win, and of course I get to learn a lot from them too. So that pays the bills, and my husband and I both do that. So unless something magic happens and we're like, yes, this is it, and there's not much pressure, then we may very well change.
Exciting though.
It is. It is.
I think taking the pressure off allows you to be more creative and experiment too. Once you cross that line into it being a business, you've always got that in the back of your head. Whereas while it's that passion project, you can really play and explore and try things without being worried about the bottom line, kind of, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely, yeah. It does take the pressure off, and it gives you that more wiggle room to try things and to take a few risks that maybe if that was your sole source of income that you may not take, or if you did, it would be on a much lesser scale and you may not see that payoff. So, but who knows, like we've flip-flopped on a number of things over the years. So, things change, right? When you look at the design, like things change, you discover things,
and seasons of your life too, what you might not have been able to take on when you had younger kids, that's totally an option now, and vice versa. you know.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Like what you were saying before with, you were out there working full time
Mm.
and, you had to go back to work because the bills need to get paid, but
Yeah.
you hated being away from your kids. And then, the other way around, Oscar, your husband's out there working and you're going, well, hang on, that's not
He's never
really
home.
working for us either because
Yeah.
we're just not seeing each other.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
this will be a big change for us. So I did early childhood teaching. I wasn't really teaching. I was the director of the centre, so just running the business essentially. And Oscar is trained as an environmental scientist, so he has that background, but he works in waste at the moment. So he's a waste consultant. So we'll be able to bring certain skills from business and from Oscar's degree across into what we're doing, which will be really cool. But yeah, so it'd be a very big change for us.
And so you're in the van in your poon at the moment
Yeah.
and you are looking for land. So
Yeah, actively looking for land. So we just missed out on a big bush block. So we had our finance come through Tuesday just gone, but we found out over the weekend beforehand that someone had paid cash for it. So we literally did the whole PDC with this property in mind, did our whole plan for it, but we've just missed out on it. So unless that falls through for some bizarre reason, we're still looking for property. So we've kind of gone the opposite scale now and we've found something that's 4 acres. So we're going to go look at that.
yeah, that's a huge difference.
Yes. So I'm just a bit wary that it's not big enough. I mean, we were never going to clear 100 acres. Our plan was to only clear a small parcel at the front of the block and leave the rest as remnant bush. And we got in contact with Landcare and we were going to do some programs and things like that on it. But that's not to be. So we found another bush block. So we'll have to clear it and build eventually. But we'll probably just live in our caravan to start with because money. And yeah, we'll live on a block somewhere. So we're looking in the Clarence Valley, like Yamba, McLean, Graftony kind of area. So yeah, we think we found another block. We'll be there in 2 weeks to have a look at it. There's a few other ones around, but they're just out of our price range. We just don't want to have a big mortgage. The whole point of this journey is to get a smaller mortgage as possible so then we can transition easier from traditional work to the land and our homestead supporting us essentially.
Oh, fantastic. It's so exciting. I mean, I was heartbroken for you when you messaged me to say it had all, fallen over. But, the universe gives us I'm going to get a bit woo-woo now, but, the universe does give us what we need, not necessarily what we want at the time. And
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, you look back and you're like, that's why that didn't happen.
Yes. So yeah, so that's the plan at the moment. We're heading back down from Yeppoon to that Yamba area to see we can find our little patch and then we'll pull up. We'll stop traveling. We still want to do smaller stints of travel, but we'll stop traveling full time and pretty much start that journey. So yeah, I'll be able to take our audience and of course Joe take your advice every week on what we should be doing. And
I'll be taking your advice on what I should do.
my mother hen and just coach me through this process of starting a little farmstead and garden. So very exciting.
Well, with our guests that we've got lined up, I think that you and I are going to be learning so much.
So much.
That's, I suppose, another reason that we kind of started the podcast. It's a little bit of a selfish reason as well. Maybe, it's people care. It's just we're caring for you guys and ourselves as well.
Yeah, so we've already got a thumbs up from a couple of people. One of them's Urban Hum, so they've agreed to come on. I don't know, we'll talk to Anna more about that. A business that sold honey in the Hunter Valley, but then Varoma might hit. So we'll kind of go down her journey. She did a PDC with us, so we know Anna from that. And they're doing some pretty cool things with their block at Cardiff. So we've got Anna lined up. And we've got a few other people in the works too that we won't give too much away yet. But yes, we've got some.
I don't want to spill all the organic beans.
No, not yet.
And I know that Anna and Kelly they've got some amazing plans. They're putting in a forest down the back. Like they're in the middle of
community a community forest on their private block.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
So
it's
some cool
absolutely
things happening.
amazing
Yeah.
what they're doing. So yeah, really, really keen to talk to them about that. But yeah, lots of guest speakers, and of course us just having a bit of a natter about what we're getting up to, what's working for us, what's not working for us. There'll be we'll warn you, there will be some swearing, there'll probably be some tears at some point because we get frustrated with what we do out there sometimes. But there's
Yeah.
definitely be a lot of laughs.
Oh, lots of laughs. Yes. I'm excited. I'm so excited, but I've still got little butterflies, even though we've been recording for half an hour already.
Yeah. It's just excitement. It's excitement that we're sharing with the world.
Yes.
Oh.
Is there anything else you want to touch on? I think that maybe you have. Share what your farm's like. You got turkeys, I know that. You got chickens.
Yeah, so all right. So for the sake of splicing, so our farm, we have what do we have? We have 2 horses, we have 3 sheep, we have 2 turkeys who she was on eggs and then she'd laid them in 3 separate spots. So we put them all in one area for her to sit on them, and she decided that she didn't like that spot. So I don't think we're going to get baby turkeys. But we do have a couple of Indian runner ducks, and she is sitting, and we are on the countdown. We're day 16, so 16 days to go. If I got my dates right, last time we hatched turkeys, I didn't get my dates right, and I was in the shower and Anthony come tearing in. He's like, "Oh my God, we have babies." I'm like, "We were not meant to have babies. Didn't know that she was on there." But yeah, so hopefully we'll get some little ducklings, so Indian runners. And so we've got that. We've got our 2 dogs. What else do we have? We've got an orchard that is in the process of being refurbished. So we've got the better part of about 40 odd fruit trees in various stages of growth and health, because I will totally admit that when we first put them in, I did exactly what I shouldn't have done. So we're on some pretty gnarly soil here. We don't have much topsoil. We need to create, so, our vegetable gardens are all no dig now. We need to create our own soil. So I actually got a friend of ours who had a little piece of machinery, and he dropped an auger down and dug a hole for all of these trees in clay.
Sounds smart.
Yeah, it was great. It was like we didn't have to dig a hole. So then, we put in, I always call it, it's the graveyard. We put in dead bodies, like, when our chickens pass away, they go into the deep freezer until we plant a tree.
Trees were dead. You mean okay, gotcha. I'm with you.
Those ones. So the deep freezer, aka the morgue. But we put them under the trees, put some dirt over them, and then we put all the amendments in. But essentially, by digging these holes, we created these amazing water bowls when it rained. So we lost quite a few trees. However, the avocados, which I thought will be the first to go after I actually did some research and educated myself about how an avocado grows and their taproot and, all the considerations that they need. And I realised how much I'd stuffed up, and I thought they're going to go for sure. Nope, 6 years on, they're still there.
And so do you have any of your animals integrated into systems yet, or that's something?
Yeah, we do. So we've got 3 separate chicken runs. So we've got three roosters, and they've all got their own hens. And so we've got one lot of chickens up in the orchard at the moment. They're about to be separated off into 2 parts. So our stone fruit trees and our poms we're going to be espaliering. Can never say that. Those trees and putting the ducks up there. And then the other half of the orchard, with our larger fruit trees and our citrus, will be the chickens. So they're there for pest management, fertilizing. It really makes a huge difference with the pests having the birds underneath them. And the other ones that we actually have a bit of an airlock system with our vegetable gardens. So what we were doing, and we're in the process of changing this, but what we were doing is that once a bed was done after the season, we would then be able to open a set of doors and gates, and then the chickens could go over onto a particular veggie patch and basically turn that over. So we're going to be changing that. We're actually building different runs, and we're building channels. So basically, sort of 1 meter wide corridors for the chickens to run up to into their actual sort of day yard, and then we're going to be putting gate inserts or Rio mesh over the top of those, and then having that as vertical growing space as well,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
having fixed beds, because what we're doing is moving it from being downhill to on contour.
Right.
So that's the big refurb that's happening, and we've got 2 of those systems going. They won't go over the garden beds anymore. But what we'll do is, any excess that we have, which we'll have plenty of, it just gets hoyed straight in there.
Yeah. And so besides the commercial eggs, all your yield is just for yourself, like providing for your family at this point?
At this point, it is. Part of the plan is to put a farm gate in. So we'll be sharing extra produce there, and also flowers. So Anthony's developed a really keen interest in flower gardening. I love flowers, but I've always sort of been like, well, unless I can eat it and get a meal out of it, I don't want to crop it.
Well, I'll have to talk to Ants, because we want to put in a commercial flower bed at our place. So
Brilliant.
yeah.
Well, we've been doing a bit more research, and I'm connecting with another lady who's got a microflower farm here.
Cool.
Heather at the cafe will put me in touch with her, and we're looking at going out and having a look there. So there's the potential that we could be selling flowers to her as well, because she's a florist, or we could sell them from the farm gate too. And then also in the farm gate, looking at jams, preserves, chutneys, pickles, all that sort of jazz as well. So there's a few commercial kitchen options, because here you've got to be registered, have a registered kitchen, a commercial grade kitchen, to be able to make that and to be able to on sell that, which we definitely don't. We have a very old homestead, and there's not a chance our kitchen would comply with that. So looking at some other options there. So we've got a lot of things are in the messy middle at the moment, which is good, but at the same time, I think a lot of people can relate. You're like, we just want to get to that next bit.
I know, like we have a mind map at the moment of all the potential income sources, and for us it's really hard, because I said I don't know what will be successful and what the community needs. So until we're really there, I don't know if we'll make that decision. And I think depending on the land that we buy will also dictate what we can and can't do, and the scale of what we're doing. And so we're looking at a few particular crops, like the flowers, but also garlic and a few other things that we think there's some local people who make preserves and things that we can on sell to them. And there's also a few big cafes around, so whether we can talk to them about providing produce. But Yamba has a huge farmers market too. So I think we'll start off there and start doing that. But I don't know how we're going to go with all the different market and garden crops, or whether we just kind of specialize in certain things. So we're kind of the same. We've got lots of ideas, but we're not sure what exactly path we'll go down yet. So we'll be in that messy middle with you very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of the context, isn't it? Like, you need to know what the context of your area and your land is, to be able to make those decisions. Otherwise, it's just a nice idea.
For sure.
Yeah. And look, we've got the board here too, that we've got our brainstorming ideas on. It's not quite a mind map, but it kind of looks like it. We've got, lots of different things that we've put up there that could be a potential income source. And I think that's one of our episodes in the future, is looking at what potential income sources you could have from
your homestead,
from permaculture or homestead.
And for us too, we really want to get into bartering and try and move away from the cash dollar all the time. So Brett was talking. Brett was our teacher for our PDC. Brett was talking to us about in exchange for some things that I'm doing for him, to give us some heritage turkeys. And he said, they're amazing to barter and trade with. Like, they'd be very valuable. And I was kind of thinking, is it valuable for him, or will it be valuable for us too? And how do we do this? And so I'm really excited to go on that path of figuring out what we can barter, and if we can come up with exchanges with people, especially because we probably won't have hooved animals. And it would be great to get some ethical meat locally sourced and things
Yep.
like that. So yeah, that's something that we're looking into more and more, is that bartering. And I was really inspired by Matt and Lentil's book. I don't know if it's Grown and Gathered or The Village, one of their books, but they talk about for a whole year they bartered just flowers for everything they needed.
And it just goes to show that, yeah, it's not all about the dollar. And I think that you touch on a really good point, like when you're talking about Brett and the turkeys, like, is it just valuable for him or is it just valuable for other people? And that's the beauty with bartering, is that it is a different value for different people. And that's where you can barter really fairly, because what is valuable to one person may not be to the next, but you're looking for those people who what you have, it is valuable for them, so that you can make a fair exchange for what's valuable for you. Whereas
Yeah.
when it's cash, if it's $10, it's $10.
Mm.
It just doesn't
And
matter who.
yeah, and they were saying in their book that, you go into a barter with something in mind, but more often than not, you get more than what you thought you were going to get, and you often give more than what you thought you could give. And really, it doesn't matter. Like, if it's 10 versus 2 of those things, it's your excess. So does it, no skin off your nose, you may as well share it. What's the big deal? And then it's this kind of abundance mentality and abundance culture that comes along with bartering, which I think is really beautiful too.
It is.
Like,
It's
you're never going
absolutely
to hand
gorgeous.
over $50 if a coffee's only worth 2, but you'd happily do that with something that you have in abundance.
That's it.
So yeah, that's where we're coming from, and I'm keen to take you along that journey.
Yes, keen as beans. So the plan is that every Friday we'll be dropping an episode with the occasional Friday missed every now and then, because, we have
Life.
lives and we're busy. So we'll be as consistent as possible. But that's the plan moving forward. So thanks for
Yes.
joining us this week. If you liked our chat, please subscribe and share. And what are they subscribing to? Where can they go?
So yes, you can follow us on Instagram. We don't have a Facebook, but you can follow us on Instagram, Practical Permaculture. We'll put a link in the show notes. And obviously on here, we don't have a website or anything like that. So if you want to chat with us, connect, ask us questions, give us feedback, that would be the place to do it.
Fantastic. So you can find us on Instagram. If you like this, then definitely share, tell everyone, because we want to connect with as many people as possible. And if you didn't, well, get back into your garden.
All
See you
right,
next
we'll talk to
week.
you next week. Bye.
Bye.